God is good, and for each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Camelot Unchained. I didn't think I would ever say that again, guys. I really didn't, because the last video I did was back when Mark Jacobs announced that they were working on Ragnarok. That was a colossal update, and it was this other game that's going to use some of the assets and stuff and the engine that they had built for Camelot Unchained to make this kind of different experience. It basically wasn't an MMO, and they're trying to grab up funding and publishers and things like that in order to really fuel Camelot Unchained, and that was kind of the purpose of it. And I'm not gonna lie, I lost it. I didn't like it. I thought it was a horrible idea. I just want Camelot Unchained. I feel like nobody can make a good RvR game such as Mark Jacobs could, the guy that brought us Dark Age of Camelot or Warhammer Online. This guy knows his stuff. I mean, he invented this kind of gameplay. And he built, well, I shouldn't say he's already built it. He has, but it's still being, it's an ongoing process. But basically, they have their in-game engine to be able to do some very amazing things. And I apologize for the video footage you're seeing right now. I did get to go into a live stream with Mark Jacobs, and he did tell me that there is some newer footage coming. They haven't been big on trying to show anything off besides to the backers, and that's under NDA because, you know, the engine was still in the works. The graphics were very placeholder-ish, not really there yet, that kind of thing. In the future, they are going to be releasing some more actual game footage to show us the progress of the game. So what you're seeing right now is very old. But guys, if you're a backer of Camelot Unchained, first of all, I want to tell you that as of the time of this recording, on April the 30th, 2020, if you're a backer, you can go ahead and log in right now, and you can go ahead and experience all the changes they have made. And I have to say, over the past 90 days, they have made a ton of progress. It has actually definitely revitalized my faith in this game, and in Mark Jacobs and of City State Games making the game. So definitely a lot of improvements. I'm going to cover a couple of recent ones that I thought were a very big deal. So they've done a lot of scenario progress. The past scripting on the scenario is in a better state as far as building out the environment and the feel of the map, the basis of the keep lords, the realm keeps, the NPC behavior, the full core scenario loop, all that kind of stuff is coming together and becoming something that is testable and something that is actually working. They also made a lot of progress on the devout classes, so the non-resurrection runes are actually ready for testing. And of course, I'm referring to the devout abilities because if you know, hopefully just watch the other videos I've done on Camelot Unchained if you don't understand how the game works as far as abilities and how you kind of can morph those and change those into different, having different effects and all that kind of thing. They've also made huge improvements on the ability bar customization as far as being able to customize your hotbar and that kind of thing, and removing, adding abilities, and also the warband overhaul, which is getting the warbands into a functioning state and making it more reliable and also easier, set up in a way to make it easier for them to update that in the future. Also, they've got what I'm showing here to you right now, which is a beautiful model of the Wyvern. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And they've got the model complete, and they're actually animating that currently. And also the environments. I mentioned it earlier, but just the shading technology, the shafts of light, all that kind of beautiful stuff is implemented now to a degree, obviously not finished, but huge improvements, and has a big impact on the way the game looks. And that goes for the terrain as well. So basically what Mark's done here is, first of all, after, I guess you could say, the big upset of talking about Ragnarok and letting us know about those plans, and you know, people didn't like it, including myself. We just want Camelot Unchained, right? It's our PvP fix. It's in my opinion, it's the PvP game because, let's face it, there's very few people who's played Dark Age of Camelot that doesn't like that PvP. It works. It's the smart way to do PvP when you have realms, and that is it's almost like it's your game. It's almost like each realm is a game, and you're fighting people that are playing a different game than you because they're different classes, they're different races, they're totally different, they came from a totally different world than you, and your realm is fighting the other two, and not just fighting the other one. See, that's the problem with the MMOs. They keep doing that, where it's one group of players, one faction versus another faction, and that is okay. You can have fun with that, that's fine, but when you have three, things just happen. Things meld better. They just work out so much better. Because if one is overpowering the other two, naturally, the other two will work together to bring the bigger force down. It just works. It is wonderful. But in any case, we wanted that, and we all have a lot of faith in him, being that he's the guy that invented that kind of gameplay. And when we heard about Ragnarok, we were pretty upset. But he's went way out of his way. If you've been paying attention, if you've been watching his live streams or his messaging to his backers and to his community, he has went way out of his way to let us know that Camelot Unchained was never going to be pushed to the side. What drives their company, it's what drives his passion. Simply, they need funding. This is a big deal. They're not just using an engine that is free or that they paid for. They're creating this engine, and they've done a pretty darn good job as far as today's technology goes of holding thousands of people in one concentrated area for like a huge siege warfare, that kind of thing. And so they need funding, and this was something they did, and it's acceptable. They use the engine already built for Camelot Unchained. They're trying to turn it into a game that can make them a little bit of extra funding so that they can continue forward and make Camelot Unchained the best game it can possibly be. Now, a lot of people are upset because the game is taking much longer than we expected in the beginning, right? We should already be playing this game, basically, if you go back to the original idea for this game. But hey, look, that's what happens sometimes, especially when you're trying to make a good game, right? Look at all the heavy hitters, right? Look at Nintendo, for example. They're not going to release a game half-baked. They're not going to do it. If they do, it would be like the first time ever. They release games when they're ready, when they're fun, and when they work. And you gotta respect him. You gotta respect a developer, because he could just rush this out in early access and make a buttload of money and walk away scot-free. He could do that with Camelot Unchained. If he put the way the game is running right now up as early access for $50, $60, whatever price he wants, people would dive all over it, okay? All over it. They would dive right in. He would make a buttload of money. He could probably make millions in a month. But he's not doing that, okay? Honestly, you cannot call Camelot Unchained a cash grab. They ask for you to pledge, and that's it. You cannot call that a cash grab, because they are making the game. They're making progress. Like I say, if you're a backer, if you're watching this video when it's, actually relevant and a new video, April 30th, 2020, you can log into the game right now and play it. This is a game. This isn't something that's not being made or not being developed. You can see the progress. When I see progress and they show it to us and let us see the progress, it's legitimate, okay? Same thing that Pantheon Rise of the Fallen's doing, constantly updating. Sure, they'll put us in the dark for a little while. So does Camelot Unchained. While they really focus down and get things together, then they'll give us a burst of information, let us watch people stream it, or even let us play. And that proves that they're making a game, because you can see the progress, okay? Much different than some of these other games that recently have canceled that never even had a game. Nobody ever actually got to play the game. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, I want to tell you a couple of things that they have done. And they've done a lot more than I just mentioned, okay? I just don't want to talk for 4 hours. They've done a lot in the past 90 days, and he's got another 90-day plan ahead for Camelot Unchained, so they're going to continue pushing forward on this game. And as they do, especially when we get some new footage, because Mark Jacobs told me personally that he was going to get some footage out to us, some newer, kind of showing the game off very soon. So when they do, you can expect I'll be making a new video, and we'll break that down. But the point of this video is, I wanted to let you know that I'm back with faith back into Camelot Unchained, because yeah, Ragnarok is a game they're using the engine for. It's a game that they are going to develop. It's a game that they're using things from Camelot Unchained in order to make, because it's much easier to make a game like that opposed to an MMORPG. It's something that is way easier to design and release, and it will help fund Camelot Unchained. So let me put it this way. If Pantheon Rise of the Fallen said, hey, we're going to take some of our assets because we're running low on funds for what we want to do. So we're going to take some of our assets, some of our gameplay, and we're going to make like this kind of demo type game where it's a full game. You can play the whole game. It's not Pantheon, but we're going to use some stuff from Pantheon to make it because it'll be faster, and we can create this game and get some extra funding, and it'll be a fun game. It'll be an enjoyable game. We're not just, shoveling out garbage to you. It'll be a fun game. I would be okay with that. I would be like, cool. That's a great way to make some money, and we can play it all together. Even if it's not multiplayer, we can just play it as a community and enjoy some of the assets and artwork of Pantheon and kind of pretend like we had the game. Do you see what I mean? It's okay. As long, I just simply thought that Camelot Unchained was going to get pushed to the side so they could focus on this game to make money. That would be wrong. That's not what they did. And I'm happy to announce that's not what they did. I have patience, and they have my support, and I'm going to continue covering Camelot Unchained, of course, because it looks fantastic. And like I said a million times already, if you are already a backer, you got to get in the game and play it and test it. It's available as of the time of this recording, April 30th, 2020. Now, usually it's only up for a few days, so if you want to test it, hop on quick. I don't even know why you're listening to me anymore. Go play the game. And until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming.